I'm Jenni Russell. Welcome to Her Health and Happiness right here on UK Health Radio, the world's #1 leading health radio station, available on podcasts on all platforms, Google Play, Apple, whichever way you listen to podcasts. We are available on podcasts, on online, around the world, 7 days a week. How you doing? I hope, like me, you too remember that you are blessed and highly favoured, a magnet for miracles, the solution to somebody's problem, and the answer to somebody's prayer. Her Health and Happiness is a show dedicated to all aspects of female intimate health and the whole person. But this week we are definitely going to be talking about men's health, because men's health impacts our health. And so we need to talk about that, especially when it comes to intimacy. When it comes to issues around erectile dysfunction, it's going to affect the intimacy that we are able to enjoy. In the same way, our intimate health affects the intimacy they are able to enjoy. I also want to talk about death, which sounds really weird. I want to talk about death and, just what you can garner when you go to somebody's funeral. After I went to a funeral yesterday. So I've been to a wedding. It's like the film was, Hugh Grant's film was 4 weddings and a funeral. But for me, it's been 1 wedding, 3 funerals and a wedding. And lastly, I want to talk about the statement. What is it? What does the statement, your health is your wealth, or health is wealth, really mean? And when you say something, do you mean it, or do you just pay it lip service, especially when it comes to that statement? Okay, so I want to start off this show this week by talking to the men. I think it's really, really important, because we are either the wives or girlfriends or daughters or sisters or nieces of men. And so therefore their health is really important. And I'm not sure about you, but at this age here, sassy, sexy 60, a wife in waiting, really looking forward to meeting that man who is looking for his wife, to be able to journey into this last portion of my life with vigor, with vitality, with a zest for life, with understanding that we are so blessed to still be here, that actually I want to do as much as I can with that person and really build some amazing memories that will go alongside the memories that I have been able to build for my life thus far. So for me, Britain's fittest woman, record holder, runner of the New York and London marathons. Oh, and the Brighton now as well. Winner of Channel 5's Desert Forges. A mother, an author, a public speaker. A nutrition and lifestyle coach that has continued to transform lives and save relationships with my specialty in pelvic intimate health. Helping women in pregnancy to be able to have a much better birthing experience and bounce back without having to worry about using medical intervention. Those things are really great. They've brought me much joy. But I get great joy as well on a Sunday when I go to church and I worship, or even every day when I wake up in the morning and I read the word. I share the prayer among 10 different groups and people. I'm able to encourage people that may be connected or not connected but need encouragement, celebrity and otherwise. That really does make my morning special. Sit down and pray to God and then set my intention for the day. Able to go on a tennis court and play, becoming a runner-up at David Lloyd Singles tennis. Being able to do those things are fantastic. But actually having that time to spend with my dad before he passed away back in 2007, so in 2006, having my juicer next to his bed in the hospital, having my food in the fridge in the hospital, those things are unheard of now, aren't they? Having a pass to park my car all day for free in the hospital, you can't get that stuff today. So, and now it's my mum with her dementia, managing to get the wheelchair for my mum, wheeling her to church 2 weeks ago, and back there again this evening. Being able to have that is the journey and the memories I've created. Taking my son all around the world. By the time he was 16, he'd been to 16 different countries. As a single parent, that's supposed to be unheard of, right? We're supposed to not be as great, but my son had that. Getting my son into one of the top colleges in London, getting him into university and him completing a degree in pure maths. I've got a great history that I bring behind me that can fill me with lots of smiles. So now I look forward to that next part with my husband. Now, when it comes to men's health, a lot of the times men don't share what they're experiencing with their partner or their wives. This is really, really, really important. The Bible says a man shall leave his mother and father and cleave to his wife, and the two become one flesh. So if you become one, you're supposed to share that one with the other one, because not 1 and 1 equals 1 in marriage, not 2. That's the difference. And you need to be able to share that openly. When we did the breakfast meeting a couple of weeks ago and I interviewed Amelia, one of the things that she found really distressing is the fact that her husband, and that's maybe their culture and African culture, did not share just how bad his blood pressure was and his health and the concerns that the medical profession had for his life. So much so, it cost him his life and he died in a supermarket, which is so sad at the age of 41, 9 days before his daughter's 3rd birthday. The funeral I went to yesterday, literally 8 years to the day, they both died on the 10th of May. He leaves behind a 2-year-old daughter and a 4-year-old grandson. So this is, again, sad, right? Sam was 41, Tony was 58, so he lived a little longer. I give God thanks that I've managed to get into my 7th decade. I've got to 60. By the grace of God, I'll get further. I take nothing for granted. The Bible says, like, how can you go around saying, see you tomorrow, see you tomorrow? Who promised you any time? So that's why I always say, by God's grace. You don't have to believe, but I do say, by God's grace, because I don't take it for granted that I'm going to see through the day, wake up the next day. I'm not morbid about it. I get up, but I recognize it's by God's grace that I can do that. Then I know I'm covered myself, because I'm not living in my own strength like I run everything. Because we don't. Even if we believe we do, you don't. Look at the cost of living crisis and what's going on. You don't run things, You've got to understand and give thanks for where you are. Because even if we are struggling, if you've got a roof over your head, you've got a toilet to sit on, you've got a chair to sit on, a bed to lie in, and even if you've only got a packet of crisps in your cupboard, you've got more than those people that are living under bridges in cardboard boxes with blankets that have been discarded for their home. So we do have to give thanks for what we've got. Now, when it comes to your prostate health, I know prostate cancer can be a very, very scary thing. I actually have in my 2nd book, Pelvic Floor Secrets, a chapter on prostate cancer and testicular issues. It's really, really important for guys to understand that and to know that also that if the cancer is contained within the prostate, then it's survivable. Once it's contained within the gland itself, it's survivable. But you need to make some lifestyle changes. Now, I've been sharing this for the last few days after I listened to a friend of mine on Instagram who had his prostate removed recently. So he's now going through the phase of having to wear the adult nappies, the male nappies, because of the dribbling. And when I called him, I was like, "What? Did you forget what I do?" And he said, "Oh, I forgot. But," he said, "to be fair, I was diagnosed 3 years ago and I tried to do it the holistic way myself. But I'm a ninja. I like my drink, I like my cakes, I like my biscuits, I like my smoking." So then I said to him, "So what you have just told me is that you love your lifestyle more than you love your life." If you look on my Instagram, at Pelvic Secrets, I literally shared a 15-second reel where I'm saying lifestyle in one hand or life in the other. Then I'm just tipping myself to one side. Is your lifestyle more important than your life, or is your life more important than your lifestyle? Because it's all about balance. But because he loves the things he indulges himself with, and they're habits that hurt your health. Habits that hurt your health. Because a lot of people love the habits that hurt their health so much, they sacrifice their health for it. So, once it's contained within the gland, it's survivable. Once they remove the gland, they interrupt what is going on, you run the risk of a little tiny piece escaping into the bloodstream, doing whatever, and now you've got another issue on your hand. Regardless of whether or not you get through that, the important thing to remember is that now you definitely have to change the habits that hurt your health. Because it's not a case of, oh, well, they've given us an opportunity now and they've taken away the glands and now I can continue to enjoy the habits that hurt my health. No. What it is that now, and they may not tell you this is why I want to share this morning, now you definitely have to make lifestyle changes. Because lifestyle changes gives you back your life. And if you are ready to leave this earth, then you can stay where you are. But many people aren't ready. We haven't thought about or prepared for our final day. That's one of the Christian walks, about understanding that having eternity in mind. But many people aren't. And when they get told that they've only got a set time left, and they take on board that statement that someone else has given you your death sentence and told you what it is, but you won't make the lifestyle change because you just love the cakes and biscuits too much. You accept your mortality. But that's quite I have to say this without, please don't be insulted by this or take it the wrong way. It's quite a selfish thing to do. Because you are the brother or the son or the nephew or the cousin or the friend or the colleague of other people. And now they have to prepare for your passing. And this is where I wanted to segue into talking about what is said at your funeral and really understanding that. Have you lived a life of purpose? Have you lived in line with your purpose? So that when people come to your funeral, as the lady said yesterday, I really loved the comment she just said, they come to remember you, to share who you were. So that's your eulogy, the tributes, who you were, and literally to articulate, well, to share their memories about you and to articulate who you were and what you meant to them. And that's kind of the three reasons why we go to funerals. But you see the sadness and the sorrow on people's faces. And you know, there was a statement I heard at a funeral which I thought was so beautiful. And it said, death leaves a void that no one can fill. But love leaves memories that no one can steal. And so people come to funerals to do that, to be able to do that. And as one of Anthony's friends said yesterday, he said, to be an adult is to tame death long enough to carve out a kingdom for yourself and enjoy it. So what is the kingdom you're carving out for yourself, and how are you enjoying it? That is the question that we need to answer.
UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good. UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good.
So when it comes to intimacy, right, I had to put the advert in there. When it comes to intimacy, I mean, for females, we have, especially as we get older, we go into that menopausal stage, hormones start to change. And, you know, again, this is that queen. Gina is the Italian for queen. You take away the VA from vagina and you have queen. And as I've said in my poem before many times, then your VA's job is to make your queen vibrantly appealing. But we don't really pay attention to that. We put our knickers on, we put our clothes on, and we go out, and we don't want to have this conversation. But it's really weird. A vagina that does not, is not sexually active begins to shrink and become more childlike in appearance. It atrophies, the muscles. It's an organ, right? And it's full of muscles, and those muscles shrink. Muscles are, the statement is use it or lose it. It has the potential to become quite loose. So we call that vaginal laxity. And also, as the hormones change, the lubrication within that organ, within our queen, changes, dissipates, disappears. That makes penetration really quite hard and painful. It makes us more subject to recurring urinary tract infections. It makes certain washes, if you're using certain washes, which you shouldn't be doing inside the vagina, it irritates the lining. We don't worry about the nutrition. That takes away the elasticity. So there's so many different changes that happen for us, and the vaginal membrane becomes thin as well, which means in penetration it could tear and bleed. That leaves you in a whole different position. So there's all these things that happen. Listen, ladies, I specialize in pelvic health. We don't fear. Doesn't mean our life is over. But ours is an internal thing, and we experience it more through pain than we do through our visual cortex for our eyes. Whereas men's, there's so I have this whole thing on vibrantly appealing Gina and penis the menace. So I've called yours penis the menace. Sorry, right? But depending on how you've been blessed, it could look quite menacing for some women, right? So this is the thing. Yours is external to you, so you can see it. Which is why a lot of times you will deal with it quicker, or you will ignore it. Again, constant urination doesn't always necessarily mean you've got a testicular or gland issue, but it could be a diabetic, a nutritional one. So it tells you another story. Again, it's about lifestyle, loving your sweet things. But the swelling, the urethra passes through your prostate gland, and which is why, if the prostate becomes enlarged, it makes it really hard for you to urinate. Testicles can become swollen. Now, prostate cancer seems to be prevalent among black men more so than Caucasians, and whereas testicular seems to be more prevalent among Caucasians than black. Now, that has definitely got to do with nutrition and lifestyle factors as well, and lots of other things that are within it. But definitely nutrition and lifestyle plays a part in literally everything we do. So to ignore that is crazy, because it plays a part in everything you do. In order for you to get well, you do not need a cocktail of chemicals. You need a cocktail of natural herbs. We have everything that we need to make us well. But a lot of that's put together with cocktail of chemicals, and that's the reason why there's so many side effects to what you take. And when you have high blood pressure, you have diabetes, you have this, you have that, and you've got a tablet for this and a tablet for that and a tablet for this and a tablet for that, that cocktail of cocktails is not good for you, not long term. It's going to mess you up. And where most of it tends to hit us is in our sex and reproductive organs. So it's right in the seat of our soul, right in the seat of our pants. It's right inside our pelvis. Your pelvis is narrower than ours, but that's where it tends to happen. A man that struggles with getting a natural erection and maintaining an erection and being able to have penetrative sex struggles with his own identity of who he is and how he sees himself as a man. One of my clients, Stephen, his father, committed suicide for that very reason. He felt like he was less than a man. And there are many men that struggle with that. Their identity is in their trousers. Our identity is in our knickers. Any woman that's wetting herself all the time, or her organs are threatening to come out of her vagina, is struggling with who she is as a woman and how she will be seen and received, especially if she's going through relationship stress and the relationship is threatening to break down. The fear of having to take that into a new relationship can be very, very debilitating. It then alters the thoughts, which alters the hormones, which creates more stress in the body, which alters the breath. She either holds the breath or hyperventilates, as does a man, which creates a more acidic environment, and the body reacts as if it's dying inside, but it actually exacerbates other issues and opens a door for sickness and diseases like cancers. This is what we have to understand. And so it's really important for us to be able to have that conversation whereby I'm not really sure. Then it's important for us as the partner of whichever sex it is, to be supportive and to understand the journey. And remember, you're on a journey together. So whether that journey is full of wellness or full of sickness, you're on a journey together. And it's that support that can make the difference to motivate that person to make the change. Ladies who've had husbands who've had their prostate removed, who've had prostate issues, and they've come into the clinic in Harley Street and they're crying because they want intimacy, but their husband doesn't get it. And because it's interrupted his manhood and he sees it as his problem, indirectly he's made it her problem by withholding from her what she wants. We haven't explored different ways to be intimate. And we need to be able to do that. And we need to be able to do that before sickness and dis-ease turn up on your doorstep, so that it doesn't become a thing. And so that you can get around the thing and you can still enjoy each other. It has to be more than just the penetrative sex. Otherwise, when that goes, what do you have? That's the questions, that's the conversations you need to have. So when it comes to your relationship, what is working really well right now? What can you do better? What needs changing? What happens if you don't change it? Who will suffer? You've got to have those conversations. They're not morbid conversations. They're great conversations. There can be great conversations. It's about how you put that conversation across, and then it's about how that conversation will be received. Because let's face it, everybody likes great sex. Well, most people do. I should not say everybody. That's a blanket statement. Most people love to have great sex. It brings you together as a couple. It's where you are completely united. That is where you do become one. And it releases those hormones, the oxytocin and the endorphins into the body that lets the body know life is great, life is safe, and this is fantastic. This, it allows you to be held by that person or hold. It allows you to see what you do to that person and what you do for that person. So it is really, really important. But we need to now get to a point where we have to understand that our nutrition and lifestyle really does impact the way in which we are able to live life better. That's the most important bit. So at this funeral yesterday, which was really lovely, like I said, I loved the statement that to be an adult or to become an adult, again, because we don't take it for granted that we're going to be able to get to that point. That is a massive step in itself. So to become an adult is to tame death long enough to build a kingdom for yourself and enjoy it. And that kingdom you're building will include your spouse, your children. By God's grace, you have the opportunity to become a grandparent as well, your grandchildren. And you get to build this life and you get to have these opportunities to build different memories, to be able to, that's the memories that no one can steal, by God's grace, that you don't lose your memory, by making choices that allow you to have something that lacks nutrition with full awareness. So we changed the language from saying, I'm giving myself a treat, I'm treating myself to chocolate or a beer. It's like I'm having a glass of wine with full awareness. That changes everything, because now it's not, you're not treating yourself. It's not a treat as such. You're just fully aware that this may not be the best thing for you right now, but it's not your staple diet. That's the difference. It needs to not be your staple diet. It needs to be that when we do attend funerals, of course they're always going to be sad. We're going to cry. We're never prepared, really, many times, especially if it happens outside the house in an accident. We're not prepared for that. This is the reason why it's important when the Bible says never let the sun go down on your anger. Always try to finalize or work out, what was the catalyst to you having a disagreement. And, rather than sort of telling the person, you did this, you did that. It's like, when you say this or when you do this, I feel, it makes me feel like, so that person's aware of how it impacts you. And then decide before you have that conversation what you want the outcome to be. If it's just about you, winning brownie points and proving to the other person that, look, you are rubbish and I'm better than you, then don't go down that road, because you don't do yourself or your relationship any favors. Think about how your words impact that person, because it's in the same way that person's words impact you. So that, if we have this untimely calling home and leaving this earth, we're able to share things in a way that, through the tears we can still smile. Through the tears we can still laugh. My memory of Tony will definitely be about this gentle giant 6'5" who just went out and made people laugh. One of my lasting memories will be what his son shared when it was in school and they had a Father-Son Day. And he said then, his dad came and he was so excited that he'd spend the whole day with his dad. And then he was slightly disappointed. And I was thinking, what, did Tony leave to go to work? What happened? And what it was is that when they were in the classroom, there was one boy who did not have a father. And they were making a photo frame together, father-son photo frame. And this young boy did not have a father. So Anthony made sure he made the photo frame with his son and then made one with the boy without the father. Now that for me is absolutely beautiful. I will not forget that. That's such a beautiful thing to do. And that's blessed to be a blessing. He never left anybody out and he made sure that everybody had. That's what, that's what you take away. That's what you think, and you think, gosh, could I do that? Could I be a blessing like that? Could I help someone like in that way? That is what you call a blessing. And that's what we have to be able to do. So, death is hard, and the Bible says, I keep saying things from the Bible because that's my go-to. It's my manual, right? He says, weeping may endure for a night, but joy will come in the morning. Now, it doesn't mean a literal Sunday night, Monday morning. Your night may be a minute, a second, a month, a year, a couple of years, few years, 10 years. What it's saying is that your joy will return. But again, that's about a decision. There's no time limit on mourning. But we can also decide that because of a person's life being cut short, our life will be more purposeful. What does death mean for you? Is it just about what you've lost? Because that is big. It's a big loss. Death is a loss, right? And I remember a friend of mine years ago saying, the reason why we struggle with death so much is because we can no longer touch that person. We don't have the opportunity to touch them and to see them. And that's why we find it really hard, because the physical is gone. And that's what we miss. It's true. It's what we miss. We miss spending time with them. Which is why it's important when we are here to make sure we spend time with those who mean the most to us. And again, it's like, whether it's your health, whatever it is, we make time for the things we want to. We pay for the things we want to. We can all afford what we choose to afford. We can all do what we choose to do. But where we find ourselves today is as a result of the decisions and choices we make, whether they are good, bad, or indifferent. So we go to a funeral, and I loved it. My spirit just told me, I bet this funeral will be, don't wear black. I bet it's going to be, and everyone had these bright, vibrant colours on, because that's who he was, a colourful character. So, as strange as it might sound, my sisters was sending some messages through the other day, watching Prince. These are the tunes I want at my funeral. And I was like, yeah, I've chosen my tunes and I've written half my eulogy. And it's like, I used to ask my clients that in lockdown. What would you want to be said at your funeral? What would be said about you? About how you lived your life and how your life impacted and touched other people. What will they say? What will people learn about you that maybe they didn't realise or didn't know? I loved that thing I just shared with you about learning about Anthony, about walking into a classroom, his son is there, but actually seeing that there was another child that never had. So he made sure that child was not left out. That's a powerful thing right there. What will be the one thing, two things, three things people will walk away from and go, wow, I never realised Jenny did, or, Sarah did, or whatever? What would it be? Let's play that second trail and let's talk about that statement. What does health really mean when you say your health is your wealth? What does that look like?
UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good. UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good.
So I thought I'd start this last section by looking at the dictionary definition of the statement, because I just think it's a great statement. So I looked up what is meant by saying your health is your wealth, because people say this all the time, and I feel that we make these they're throwaway statements. So just a couple of things. This is in October 2021. The saying health is wealth means that health is the biggest wealth anybody can have. Anything can be achieved if we have good health. It's not enough to have money alone. We can make good use of wealth only if we have good health. And then there's another thing. Why is your health your wealth? Your health is your greatest wealth and asset. Your healthy body gives you the strength and energy that help you to achieve better results in every aspect of your life. Being able to sleep at night, walk without pain, eat and enjoy food is the main meaning of happiness. And then it says, a person in good physical and mental health may appreciate the world to the fullest and meet life's problems with ease and comfort. Health is riches implies that health is a priceless asset rather than money or ownership of material possessions. There is no point in having money if you don't have good health. Last one. Health is wealth. Proverb means the state of well-being free from disease or diseases, both physical and mental, is indeed a wealth. Now, the reason why I wanted to read those little statements first is because really it's just confirming what I'm about to share. Is that based on the previous topics I've talked about in terms of men's intimate health, in terms of death, and many times premature death. And I will say premature death because when we have habits that hurt our health, we send ourselves home way too early. And that's really what happened with the funeral I went to yesterday. And we don't get to live. The two I went to when I came back from the wedding in St. Lucia were lives well lived, 92, I think, and 90, something like that. So they lived. Now, they didn't live with great health, but they were able to live. So, and it was in the last 10 years they struggled, or five years they struggled. Now, like I said to you, as a wife in waiting, it's really something about the journey that goes on. I spoke with a comedian the other day, a well-known comedian the other day, and he said a lot of women are coming to him and saying to him that a lot of men, when they get to this 50-plus age, fabulous 50s, they get to sassy, sexy 60s, men have let themselves go. They haven't looked after their health. They haven't looked after their body shape. And they haven't looked after their intimate health. So they've got issues in terms of performance, posture, and body shape. And then there are men listening to the show going, hold on a second, but some lot of women let themselves go as well. Yes, we do. There are many women that let themselves go. I also hear statements from women and men that they say, but when you get to a certain age, you shouldn't expect to have a good body. Now, where was that written down? Who said that? Bring them to me so I can beat them. Who said that? We have what we work towards. Habits that hurt your health cannot give you the body you desire. And then what happens is We don't want to learn anything about how we work, so we will go under the knife. But not realizing that, why is it they want you to be of a certain weight and of a certain health and your blood pressure in order for them to do operations? It's because they'd have to really, when they give you the anesthetic, it has to slow the heart down enough for the brain not to register the pain. That's why when you come out from anesthetic and the heart goes back to normal and the brain waves go back to normal, you know about it. You know you've been attacked, right? So it's important for us to understand, if we don't want to go under the knife, think of adjusting your lifestyle as being held at knife point then, in some ways. In that, what I mean by that is that if you were to look at your, changes that you have to make, the discipline that it requires, you need to remind yourself for why you need to be disciplined. You need to remind yourself, this is about being able to enjoy life to the fullest. I did an Instagram live post yesterday and I said that if your health is your wealth, as people say so flippantly, and then just carry on doing everything that actually promotes optimal health, then we are really poor. Really poor. People are poor. You can have lots of money, but you are actually poor if you do not have the nutrition, the health to match that money. Because in the end, health directly starts to affect your freedom of movement. And when it starts to affect your freedom of movement, you get emotionally involved. Not rationally involved, emotionally involved. So we get all up in our feelings and start to say, oh, my life is this, my life is that, it's not fair, blah, 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 blah. We get really upset because we feel like we're under attack. We start to become conscious of what people may be saying about us or how they may be looking at us. And we don't like that feeling either. So we find ourselves in this sort of quandary where it's like, I just want to, as my late friend Annette said, it's my body, I can do what I want. And she's right, it's her body and she can do it because your body is your business. You can choose to do what you want. But here's the thing. You can say it's my body, I can do what I want. But as soon as that body starts to let you down, all of a sudden, you now want someone else, third-party medical intervention, to fix the body and take care of the body that you chose not to take care of. That becomes a problem because it's not about them being able to put you back to where you were. Well, it is. Sorry, it's about them putting you back to where you were so that you can continue the habits that are hurting the health and put yourself back to the same place again. So really and truly, before operation should happen, we have to look at really what is the history, what is actually the underlying driver that drives you towards poor habits that don't actually help to optimize your health, rather than better habits that will help you to optimize your health. And really being able to identify which is the one you need to focus on the most. Because I remember years ago, a friend of mine's daughter, when she'd taken her daughter to school, she had a bit of road rage, and her daughter was 5, and she said, Mummy, anger closes the mind and opens the mouth. But what we have to recognize is in that moment of anger, that thought that creates an emotional response that releases the cortisol into the body. So that's the hormone that it releases. Left unchecked, starts a chain reaction within the body that starts to affect the organs. But it also, without realizing it, directly affects the breathing, and left unchecked changes the breathing pattern, which changes the environment within the body, which changes the pH regulation, which makes the body think it's under attack, which actually creates more cortisol release in the body, which changes the hormone profile, which will change digestive issues. And the digestion is the mother system of the body, which will take you towards sickness and or disease. And that's the reason why I run these 60-day courses. I'm going to change it from the word challenge to courses. And also, I'm running a free 3-day challenge. That will be the challenge. And I should have shared this really at the top of the show. I'm running a free F-R-E-E, 3-day challenge. And then I'm working on 60 days to becoming confident, continent, and sexually satisfied, all whilst improving posture, performance, and body shape. Healthy habits to heal and harmonize. That's what we're going to do. We're going to look at the healthy habits that heal and harmonize. So you've got to wait till you get 44 minutes into the show to hear me tell you that. I really must promote my stuff better than this. I'm so not promoting at the right time. But anyway, you should still be here. You should still be here listening. And so if you're interested in that, you can send me a message. If you're on Instagram or Twitter, then you can send me a message at Pelvic Secrets. If you're on LinkedIn and or Facebook, then it's Jenni with an I. So it's Jennifer minus the F-E-R, which is Jenni, Russell. And I'm going to change the profile picture on Facebook as well, so that you'll see me. It's the same as my Instagram picture, same as my WhatsApp post, which is me in a bikini with one leg on the ball doing a split squat, a lunge on a Swiss ball. I'll change that so that when you go to look for Jenni Russell, you will see my Amazonian pose, Wonder Woman pose, and you'll know it is me. So when we look to see how we can improve our health, when we look to see how we can live life better, when we look to see how we can really be wealthy, then we look at the habits we have that either hurt our health or the habits we have that heal and harmonize. That is the choices we have. You either got healthy habits to heal and harmonize, or you have habits that hurt your health. Literally, the scale is like that. And that's the reason why I said at the top of the show, the question really is, do you love your lifestyle more than you love your life? Or do you love your life more than you love your lifestyle? Or are you able to balance your life in such a way that your lifestyle suits it and that you're able to have this energy for the long run, that you're able to be here? Many marriages sadly break down in this menopausal season. Apparently 66% of women get divorced during this menopausal season. It's not the time to start a conversation about divorce when you're going through the menopause and you're not understanding the emotional, hormonal changes within your system. And so women find themselves at this crossroads, in this position, in this place. But they don't understand their inner workings. And they would like to be able to start a new relationship. But they've got that little pelvic floor secret, that little leaking one, or that dragging sensation, or they've got a loss of sexual feeling, but not understanding that that very area is also where they house all their emotions. So there's so much more to it than just a case of, I will do X, Y, and Z, A, B, C. We've got to really understand the implications for where we find ourselves, so that we can put ourselves in a better position and make better lifestyle choices that allow us to have great fun. If you look on my Instagram this week, if you look on my Facebook, you'll see that I share, as I said, I cycle I run. I play tennis. I socialise with my friends. I come back from the wedding. We've been out to a few events. We were on a boat trip with Eddie Nestor's birthday party on the Thames on Sunday. That was beautiful. You'll see my pictures on Facebook, on other platforms. It's great. I'm going to Ascot with the guys that I cycle with in a week and a half's time. This week we're cycling to Crystal Palace, from Crystal Palace to Brockwell Park, from Enfield. So if you even just look it up, Enfield, North London, or you look up by the Junction 25 of the M25 to Crystal Palace, across to Brockwell Park, you'll see that's a ride and a half we're doing on Sunday. But I'm at my mum's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and I'll be putting her into the wheelchair and taking her out so that she can get the sunshine, so that she can have a quality of life. If it's the end stage of her life, I have to make sure I fill it with quality foods, quality hydration, and quality things that we will have memories of. She may not remember all of them, so really that's more about us. But what she will remember, and what does bring a smile to her face, is the fact that she can get out of the house and still be someone. Many times my brothers and sisters seem to be more embarrassed by her frailty now, but it's not about us. It's about what memories and what quality of life we leave for my mum. And the beautiful thing is that we take it in turns. We look after her. We've kept her at home. We have full access to my mum, and we are able to make her life as beautiful as possible, recognizing that when we were young and selfish and in our own feelings and emotions, we may not have realized we could do that. So that's my leaving note for all of you. If you have an opportunity to make your parents' lives beautiful, take it. Don't feel that they're encroaching on your life because they gave you the life in the first place. Give them something back that they get the chance to enjoy, and then you will get the chance to enjoy them in return and what you've done. So until next week, in health and happiness, stay blessed, stay well, stay safe.